every possible outcome. Doing that can be kind of scary, but I learned how these bills can impact wanted pregnancies. And you've heard some of them. House Bill 62, where you have women who very much want a baby, but they find out that if that baby survives to be born, it will suffer and probably die. And if we had heard debate today, but debate, they put these bills off because they were afraid to get up and debate them in front of you guys. Let's be real. If we had debated today, you would have heard me tell some stories of women who couldn't come down and tell their stories themselves. But women who very much wanted their baby and couldn't have their baby because of a gross abnormality or a disease or something that went wrong, and they made excruciating decisions to terminate the pregnancy because they felt that was in the best interest of the child and their family. Now, House Bill 62 would say, if you're wealthy or you're lucky enough to have insurance that covers it, okay, we're not going to bother you. But if you're poor, you're on your own. Not only that, but the ultrasound bills would now say to those women and their husbands who have made devastating decisions, not lightly, not for lifestyle convenience, but because they didn't want to put their child through pain for nothing, would say to them, by law, your doctor is required to give you an ultrasound. By law, your doctor is required to ask you if you want to see it and listen to the heartbeat. You think about that.
That's wrong.
That is wrong.
Who's going to pay for it?
Well, you are, or the mother and the father. And not only that, let's talk about House Bill 1. They claim, well, all House Bill 1 does is it creates a cause of action for wrongful death. Well, that's bull. Because I put the floor amendment down that called their bluff. And the Speaker ruled it not germane because he said the purpose of the bill was broader. Well, let me tell you what that bill does. It requires that all 25,000 places in the Virginia Code where the word person appears, that you have to count a fertilized egg. Well, let me tell you what that does. It can outlaw many forms of in vitro fertilization and assisted contraception. They claim it doesn't. Well, read the bill.
Right.
Let me tell you what else it does. One of the speakers we had at a press conference, I'm going to tell you, it was the first press conference where I ever cried, where a woman who had gone through in vitro fertilization 5 times, she lost all 5 babies, and she told how that bill, which is targeted at women who don't want their babies, would capture her. And a doctor got up and told the story of another woman who went through in vitro fertilization. She was carrying twins. They went to have an amnio, which if you're over 35, they recommend that you do. But an amnio has a risk of causing a miscarriage. Well, guess what? She lost the babies. Now, her doctor could be arrested for battery because of House Bill 1.
That's wrong, too.
That is exactly right. Let's talk about, and when I was pregnant, my ultrasound doctor said, I love to go to these parties and find pro-life people and talk about some of the real-life cases that I've had. Let's talk about a woman who had a hole in her heart. And so she knew she needed birth control, which, there are a lot of people who want to outlaw, and you can with House Bill 1. So she was on birth control to keep from getting pregnant because she knew if she got pregnant, she was going to die. But she got pregnant anyway. So she had to make a terrible choice between her life or the unborn child. Well, under House Bill 1, she can't make that choice anymore. Or he tells the story, let's go back to the people who need infertility treatments. And oftentimes what happens is you end up with multiple pregnancies. So let's take the octomom, who the chances of any one of those children surviving are pretty slim, but if you reduce the pregnancy to 2, chances are greater than 50%. So that mom has to make a very difficult choice. Do I roll the dice and lose all 8? Or do I reduce the pregnancy to 2 and get to keep those? Well, the pro-life people are like, oh, that's not an abortion. Yes, it is. No legal difference in Virginia. Or let's talk about my friend who was carrying her first child, went in for her ultrasound, discovered that the child had died. She had to come back and schedule a D&C to terminate that pregnancy. And the pro-life people, oh, well, that's not an abortion. Yes, it is. Under Virginia law, it is. Now, you think about every single one of these cases that I have talked about. They would say, now, doesn't matter. Your doctor is required by law to give you an ultrasound, ask you if you want to see it, and listen to a heartbeat, even if they know darn well there's not going to be a heartbeat there. Now, one member of the other side said to me, well, Jen, you only talk about the tragic cases. You're damn right. Because how many of those women do you think are going to come down here and face the hostile atmosphere that they have to face in these committee meetings and tell their story? Only to have people ignore them and vote the way that they want to vote for political reasons. Somebody's got to tell those stories because every single one of these bills affects them too. So you're going to hear these stories whenever we debate this bill.
Good.
We're going to hear it. And you know what? That's why they don't want to talk about it. But we're going to talk about it, and with your help, we're going to keep these bills from becoming law. And if the Senate doesn't listen to you, then hopefully the governor will. Thank you all very much for coming.